Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today on this effort we call Africa Reconnection, a platform where we bring in people who are making an impact trying to reconnect with their roots. And today we are so privileged to have Tendai Pilatwe. She's based in the UK, but obviously regularly comes to Africa and reconnect with her roots. Tendai, thank you very much for being on our show today.
Thank you for having me.
Just to put everything into perspective, what's your background?
So I moved to the UK with my family in 2001. I started year 7, that's Form 1 in Zimbabwe. And then I went on for higher education and studied journalism at Bedfordshire University. I produced
So you
a
actually
film.
moved to the UK when you were doing Form 1.
That's right.
Okay.
So I was just entered into high school, the only black girl amongst almost the whole year. So I stuck out like a sore thumb.
And how was the culture shock when you moved to the UK?
I tended to spend a lot of time in the library. It was very shocking. People were also shocked to see a black girl with braids. So I kind of isolated myself, and my friends were the books in the library at lunchtime.
And so how many are you in your family, and are all your siblings in the UK?
Yes, so it's just me and my 2 brothers and my mom. So, yep, we are all there right now.
And now you are trying to reconnect with your roots. And I would imagine, with all your siblings out there, what's giving you this drive to try and reconnect with your roots?
I sort of feel that Africa is very more relaxed. There are plenty of opportunities here that I've discovered. But more importantly for me is the slower pace of life. I am an entrepreneur. I think at heart, so I see so many opportunities, and I'm just, ready to take them on.
Okay, and in transitioning, from a developed country, so to speak, to a developing country, which is most African countries, how is that transition, going on with you?
So with Zimbabwe, what I've noticed, it's still developing in many areas. And as compared to the UK, the infrastructure is there. There are systems in place. Sometimes it is sort of a bit disappointing, especially, maybe when you can't just get electricity, you can't just get water. In the UK, those are basic services. So
having been coming here regularly, obviously there are things that you have been seeing and picking up, challenges and also opportunities. What would you say to somebody who is trying to make this move to transition from the diaspora back home?
There's a very strong sense of community and connection in Africans, in African countries. And that's not there in the UK. It tends to be more individualistic. So if you are ready to come here, you know that you have a support system. So I would, say, besides the resilience of Zimbabwean people that is known all over the world. Africa is so warm. It's so much warmer. And, personally, that rich cultural tradition, that's what, thrives. And, that's why somebody should make that decision and come back home.
And of late we've been having a lot of people who, trying to come back home. And the majority of them, interestingly, they are setting their sights in the rural areas instead of, ideally, settling in the towns and cities because this is the kind of life they are used to. Why do you think this is so?
So there's a combination of factors. The first one is that they have a desire for connecting with their roots.
Mm-hmm.
They being out there, it's very different. It's so different. In Africa, just if you take off your shoes, connect with the earth and with the roots, I think that's what people want. Also, they want a slower pace of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fast-paced in the UK, it's unbelievable. In the rural areas, there are also opportunities because, there is not much entrepreneur going on there. So I would advise someone can start projects. They can do agriculture. They can do tourism. There is so much opportunity. And the cities tend to be a little bit hectic for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think the rural area is the place to be.
Obviously, there has to be a draw card. What is it that is motivating you to want to come back to Africa, and which places are you actually citing to come and settle?
Oh, that's a very good question. So, growing up, my parents were not very traditional.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of had Western dishes. We grew up in town.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wasn't a villager, if you like. In fact, kumusha was almost a punishment. Ndokwendesa kumusha. So it was almost one of those places I just don't even know, having lost my dad at a very early age. So I guess I had that zeal of what is it like to be a villager. So what I've done since I've got back to Africa is set up a cultural village. This is called Great Zimbabwe Cultural Village. So we are located along the Victoria Falls Highway. And there are chalets there. We offer a range of activities. So
African
experiences, exactly. And stuff like storytelling, drumming. We have sessions for visitors. We have workshops, even milking a cow.
Wow.
Scotch cart riding.
Wow.
It's very interesting. And I get so thrilled by just getting into a Scotch cart because I've never done it before.
Yes. And quite a number of people, cultural tourism is a huge draw card.
Yeah, our aim is actually to provide a memorable experience. So we want somebody to just, leave that place and say the natural beauty of the wildlife is our hospitality, is what they have taken away from Hwange.
Wow, this is amazing. And this cultural village, what sort of impact is it bringing, particularly to the villagers in that community? Okay,
so the villagers, they also contribute. They are the ones who do the activities. So we have, the local dancers, they come in, they do the dancing performance. We are creating employment in the area. The villagers look forward to seeing tourists. Because Hwange is in Zimbabwe, I don't know if you've been there.
I've been there, yes, a couple of times.
Yeah, it's more of a touristic area. It's more of a touristic area. So I think villagers are sort of used to seeing tourists, welcoming tourists.
And even their lifestyle and hospitality is also attuned to hosting people.
Exactly. So they will welcome you if you're coming from abroad. They will just make sure that the stay is
fantastic.
Amazing.
And that adds to the package that you are offering. Just the natural hospitality.
Absolutely. And can I just say that another activity is learning how to braid hair.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the villagers teach that.
Okay, that's great.
Thatching, how houses are thatched, how mud is put on the house. It's so interesting to tourists. And you just experience everything if you come.
All right. You know, your passion about rural development in this particular project, the Culture Village, were you born and raised in a rural village, or this is just a passion that you picked because of your experiences in the past?
Yeah, so I was not raised in a village at all. I was born and bred in town. So I sort of missed that. I visited, it's only when I got married that I went to my husband's side of the family that is very rural. So, that was almost my first time to see a cow.
Oh, really?
Up close and personal.
Uh-huh.
And, I'm scared of a cow, So I thought, no, I want to be here. I want to be in the village with nature, and that's where
What else are you doing in terms of reconnecting yourself with your roots apart from running the, culture village in Wange?
Okay, so I've written a book. And it's called Village Cooking. I've put 40 recipes in there.
Wow.
And these recipes are recipes that are cooked in the village using traditional culinary. And this is our herbs, our beans, stuff that our ancestors ate and how to cook it. So we find that those who are born in the city, they've kind of even lost touch with food,
our traditional
cuisine. Absolutely. And there is no one really there to teach them anymore, because you find maybe the parents also are I don't know, occupied. So in that book, anybody who is interested, it's mostly open fire cooking. So we'll give you all the ingredients, all the recipes, how to cook, traditional meals.
Okay.
Yes.
Cooking traditional meals and serving them as well. Because when food is served with love, in an African way, it tends to give a unique African taste as well. Fantastic.
And can I just say, each dish in that book tells a story.
Okay.
There's also baking recipes. And I would just advise everybody to grab a copy.
Okay.
It's available on Amazon.
It's available on Amazon.
Yes.
Fantastic. We'll get the link and then we'll publish it so that anyone who wants to add to their culinary recipes, they can the African culinary recipes, they can have a copy and be able to do that. So let's talk about someone who is out there, and when we talk of Africa reconnection, people reconnecting with their roots. It's not just people who are in the diaspora coming back home. We also have people who migrated from the rural communities into the cities. People are, animals of movement.
Yes.
So they migrate.
Yeah.
So as they migrate, at some point, they start to think, you know what, I think I need to go back to my roots. It might be in a physical way, or you are still in the city, or you are still in the diaspora, but you want to adopt a lifestyle that reconnects you with your roots. What advice would you give to somebody who is planning that transition, and how smooth can it be?
So having lived in the UK for 20 decades, I would say it's not 2 decades.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. I would say it's not easy. It's not going to be a smooth sailing transition. I'm always sort of I always notice that the community is very much connected here. They're very, very much connected. But anyone who wants to take such a step, what I would advise them is to be financially independent. I think that would be the best way not to struggle in terms of finding work or having income. So if you're financially independent, you can live anywhere you like.
And there is the FIRE movement, the financially or the financial independent retire early movement.
Yes.
Pretty much a financial strategy, but I think it applies to anyone, anywhere in the world. How
Yeah.
does that impact someone who is trying to make that decision? Because one of the things that brings a lot of fear, particularly for people who want to transition from a functional system into a developing world, is that, will I survive in that environment? What is it that I need to do so that I can cushion myself from the harsh realities, economic realities of African economies?
All right. So with the FIRE movement, it emphasizes on saving and investing aggressively in order to retire early. So I think in the UK, they just extended the retirement age from 65 to 68. The approach is basically to attract people to escape that 9 to 5 grind and attain financial freedom. And there's so many ways in doing that. You can invest in the stock markets. So not many people have this information, but there's investments in property. The idea is just so that you have your money working for you, and you then become flexible, and you then fulfill that lifestyle in the village where it's relaxed, it's slow paced, it's organic. So yeah, there's loads of projects that one can start for financial independence. So for example, agricultural products. I know you do a few projects
Oh, yes,
in the village.
Under the Country Boy, yeah.
Under the Country Boy banner. So that also, helps with financial independence.
Fantastic. Before we wrap it up, we always want to get the African philosophy that has shaped who you are. It could be a proverb, it could be an African nugget that can impact others who are out there.
Okay, so one of my favorite proverbs is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and the reason I like this verb, it talks of, how it's very important to achieve long-term goals. You need the community. Ubuntu.
Wow. And the Ubuntu philosophy is what has knitted us together as Africans.
That's right.
And that is actually what is drawing us back to our roots. Thank you very much for being here. Right. Thank you very much for tuning in and for gleaning on the wisdom that was being shared by Tendai today. And I hope and pray that you too can make that important decision to reconnect with your roots. Until next time, keep it rural.